I didn't have time to print anything, so I'll see if my phone holds up.
You need power?
Power behind you.
I didn't bring anything to connect. I think I may.
I have a charger.
No, I'm good for now.
Are you sure?
If I need, I'll.
God, like
thank you.
chargers.
Everybody,
We
pull out their charge.
We are live
On YouTube, just FYI, just saying. And I will start recording. Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Right, thanks, Shelley. We
We'll
will,
go into-
there it is. Thank you, Shelley. We will call our Cities Association of Santa Clara County regular executive committee meeting to order at 2:01 p.m. Shelley, can you please call the roll?
Lisa Flager,
Here.
Larry Klein,
Here.
Tina Lawyer,
Here.
Hun White,
Yes.
Margaret Abekoga. Margaret has informed me she won't be here. So with 4 people, we have quorum.
Thanks, Shelley. We also have Mr. England in the room and also Andrew Shen, or co-general counsel online. Next, we will have oral communications on non-agendized items. Do we have anybody online? Shelley? I don't see anyone in the room.
Yeah, no one online.
I heard a ping.
Oh, that's Gabe.
Oh.
He's in the room and online.
Hi, Gabe.
Thank you. So next we'll move to the agenda. The first item is the consent item, and the only consent item is our minutes from our last executive committee meeting on April 26th. Any questions, comments on the minutes? If not, I will look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second by Klein.
Okay.
And then we could do, we don't have to do roll call, right? Because we're all in the same room. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. President's update. I will hold off on my update because it will really be part of the June 13th event. So next we will move to the JPA formation update, and I will turn it over to Andrew to give us the update.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will be very brief. I want to report that thank you, Shelley, for facilitating this, but we filed our conflict of interest code with the county counsel's office. And so that should be underway. So thank you very much, Shelley, for helping out with that. We are also going to, and I realize there's an upcoming break in board meetings, but I did want to let you all know that Janie, myself, and Shelley will be working on some essentially paperwork, making sure that all the decisions that we've been working on in the past few months will be documented and filed in the right place, including insurance documents and otherwise. And we do plan on coming back in the late summer or fall with some additional work in terms of rules for the city selection committee. So state law requires the city selection committee adopt certain rules and procedures, and we're going to plan on assisting on that front. And then we also plan on working on anti-harassment policies and other internal policies as well for the board's consideration in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. One question or more of a follow-up, because I know Councilmember Walia and Mayor Klein had asked about amending our Form 700s, and you had sent an email. I'm curious if you have received any questions from council members. And I want to thank Tina and Larry actually for raising that question at our board meeting.
Yeah, that was a great question, and thank you for raising that. And we did run it through the county's counsel's office, as you saw. There was one sort of confirming email, just making sure they understood the advice, but no other follow-ups since then.
I can add that Mayor Stone from Palo Alto reached out to me to check which box he had ticked off, and he ticked off the city. So I'm expecting him to mail it to me.
Okay.
Yeah. But no one else has emailed me for questions either.
Yeah, and again, I think by the next cycle, we certainly plan on having e-filing in place, which hopefully will make this all a lot easier.
Great. Okay, any questions for Andrew?
So if there's no change, we don't have to do anything.
No, exactly. Only if required.
Yeah, I didn't need it, but I had a feeling that somebody may have missed it. That's why I asked that question.
But what's required is if you have anything that would be reportable under Form 700 outside of your city boundary.
Within the county.
Within the county,
Okay.
then you have to do it.
Okay.
So most likely it doesn't apply to the majority of us, but there probably is one or two.
And actually, when I asked Andrew, I was thinking of her because remember.
Yeah, I did bring it because I just had a sixth sense that somebody would
Yeah.
get that.
No, it was a great question. Thank you so much for raising it.
Okay. Thanks for the update, Andrew. Any public comments on this item, Shelley?
No, online.
Okay, with that, I'm going to close this update from our attorneys and then move to the June 13th City Association Special Meeting Update, which is also under number 5. So you all should have received the invitation from Shali. Hung, have you received the invitation?
Yes.
Great. So we're very excited. Everything is coming along really well. El Camino is our sponsor. And they, based on their own policy, so I'll be going through a couple of things. Based on El Camino's own policy, they're only able to fund food, dessert, but only non-alcoholic beverages. We had the same issue last year with SVCE, and thankfully Joint Venture was able to provide the alcohol. So again, the Citizens Association didn't have to spend any funds last year. We had SVCE for the food and non-alcoholic beverages, and Joint Venture stepped in. So, and in the past, prior to last year, the Citizens Association has figured out ways to provide alcohol at its events. So for example, Shali has already shared that we have some leftover alcohol from last year. I don't know how good it is. But the point of this, and I'm going to go through a couple of discussion points, but the point of this one is to get feedback from where the decision makers for this event. Do we want alcohol? And if we do, are we comfortable with one of two things? Either we use Citizens Association funds to pay for the alcohol, or we do a cash bar. We can have a local Los Altos entity do a cash bar where people, and we would advertise it. We would let the attendees know that it's going to be a cash bar, so that at least there's alcohol available, since this is a social event, and we historically we have had alcohol. Or I guess there's a third option. Are we saying no alcohol for this event? So, thoughts?
I would not be comfortable with having the association pay for the alcohol, for sure.
Okay.
A cash bar, I think will be fine. And,
I'd like to add, we had a cash bar at our holiday party 2 years ago and nobody complained.
I think cash bar will be fine.
I would say, cash bar's fine, but getting rid of any wine that we have, any leftover alcohol, so you have, here's what's available, and beyond that, and I think that's a fair sort of thing from a party standpoint. This is available until this runs out. At that point, and if you want mixed drinks or whatever, cash bar, if we're not providing what you'd like, then you can order yourself. So you have options,
That's good. That's
limited
good.
options of yes, we're trying to have a festive party, but beyond that, if you want something specific, pay for it yourself.
The two things. Are you going to be the tester for this?
It doesn't matter whether or not it's new or old, any bottle can be bad, but
My question is, with the cash bar, that winery, would that prohibit them from wanting to come because they have to have certain, consumers in order for them to be profitable to come?
Right.
I know of a couple Los Altos establishments would be willing to do it.
Okay, I
Yeah.
think that's fine. That's fine.
it's publicity. for
It
that.
is publicity. They're right.
Absolutely.
Shali, how many bottles do we actually have?
We have unopened cases, at least 2 unopened cases.
How many bottles per case?
So, I think,
We're expecting between 75 and 100 based on previous numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and one bottle is roughly 4 people, right? 4 drinks, so we have a lot.
Okay.
We probably have more than that, open cases too.
Right away.
My question is
Tina.
being asked by Hung,
Mhm.
and answered by Nisa, so I'm good. I agree, there's no need for us to spend any more Citizen Association money on drinks for the summer event.
Okay.
And so.
We can always just plan, I think it's planned that we purchase for the holiday party and then reuse whatever's left over for the summer event.
But did we purchase last year, or this is leftover from joint venture
Joint venture.
Right, we didn't purchase it, it was from joint venture.
But I think, but I think in the future, I do think from a holiday party standpoint, purchasing alcohol for a holiday party is a little bit different than a summer.
Right, yes, yes. I
So
agree.
the wine that we served at the holiday party was the wine from June. Even after that, after 2 of the sea level.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully it's still good. And if not, they take a taste and then they go buy their own. Yeah.
And can I also ask, is whoever's providing the cash bar, are they donating their time or do we have to pay for their bartender, et cetera?
Well, we haven't approached the two that I'm thinking, so I don't know what they'd be willing to do, but I thought you're gonna ask another question, which I was going to throw to Andrew. Anything from a legal perspective, Andrew, we need to be aware of as we approach these entities?
I'm sorry, which for
The
just
bar. So any establishment in Los Altos that could host the cash bar, anything we need to be aware of when we ask them to do this?
no, I don't think so. It shouldn't raise any gift or behest payment issues if they're just providing services at the normal commercial rate.
Andrew, what about behesting?
Again, it wouldn't be a donation if they're just sort of operating as a cash bar and sort of, again, charging normal rates. It wouldn't trigger any behest payment obligations.
But it's the time of the bartender, right? Like, don't you have to
But
pay for the
they would pay their own.
But they would pay their own.
But I thought so.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Andrew, I was thinking along, so thanks for that, Charlie. I was also thinking along the lines of any waivers we need them to sign because we want them to take full responsibility. Any of that we need to do, or you're comfortable with us arranging them to host the cash bar? I know the city has insurance, but.
Right. So I assume they have we may need to talk to them a little bit further about whatever they have in place in terms of which establishment it is, and I'm happy to work with Shali on that. On our end, I certainly hope that we would have our own insurance in place as well.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
we-
have the city, the Citizens Association. Okay,
Yes.
so
I think we're pretty well covered if that's all in place.
I think we've made the decision, we'll do the cash bar. So we'll work together with city staff and figure out, the ones we want to approach and see if they're available to do it.
Okay, and we will put out the bottles of wine somewhere.
Yes. To Larry's
I do
suggestion.
think you need to talk to the cash bar person, the winery, see if they're okay with it. Yeah, you don't wanna surprise them. Usually they don't charge us, but they have a minimum.
Right.
They'll say they have to sell how many.
Right.
So, quick question, thinking about that. So who will be pouring that older wine? And if somebody starts saying, oh, this doesn't taste good, then is that?
It's a white pour,
Right.
it's a pour. Okay, yeah.
So that the cash bar person is kept separate from
Yeah.
all of that.
Yes.
Just wanted to bring that up.
And each of our round tables for events seats 8 people. And so we could do 2 bottles per table, just put it on the table. I know we do that for another event. So every table will have 2 bottles.
That's much better.
Yes, so really 1 glass per person.
Yeah.
Thank you. Andrew, do we need a motion for the cash? Yes, this is just planning. So the next item of discussion, so for our Cities Association Mental Health Awareness Initiative, just quick updates and then feedback on another suggestion. The signs have been ordered. Thanks to Gabe's team, we're now able to get 250 signs, so 50 instead of 215 for the same amount. Very exciting. And they're scheduled to be delivered to City Hall on May 30th. So we'll have the signs, and Shali, in the usual Shali way, has volunteered to deliver these signs to all our city halls. And then Gabe will talk to the city managers about placement and distribution. And just to follow up, because I'm not sure everybody's aware, Gabe shared the plan and the sample, the final updated version with the city managers. No one had any concerns or objections, correct?
Sure.
And so then after that, that's when we placed the order. And we made the updates. Charlie, do you have the most updated version? Maybe I'll describe it. We did exactly.
Would you like me to pull it up?
Yes, because the feedback we received at the board meeting about putting the QR code, putting the Cities Association URL, having the 988 number, then having the hashtag, all of those were done before we ordered it. So all the feedback we got, city staff was able to update the sign, so it looks good. So that's been ordered, and it should arrive by May 30th. And just a reminder, we plan to divvy up those signs, and we are going to include Gilroy. To all the cities. So that's the invitation. It's talking about the signs.
Oh, the signs, yes, sorry, I'll get those up.
So all that's been ordered. The idea is that I was talking to John Cohen, who is the Government Affairs Director at El Camino, about this mental health awareness initiative, and told him, we're doing this because we want residents to know that, we see them, we support them, and here are some additional resources and support that's available. And so in addition to these signs that we're going to put in all our cities, we're also going to have the landing page on the Cities Association website with resources and contact information. The Los Altos team, thanks again to Gabe, is working on a social media toolkit that we plan to share with all the cities, remember Tina? So that we can all be sending the same message, mental health awareness in our communities. And then the new idea is for each of the board members to do a video, like a 20-second video. So we're gonna ask each board member from each city to hold up one of the signs and say why mental health is important. Like whatever you want, it's like Tina Wally, a council member from, I want all cities to say something. Videotape yourselves for 20 seconds. And then we're going to compile those videos and show them on June 13th. And that will also be part of the Cities Association webpage. So this is part of the mental health awareness. Thoughts?
One quick question
Mhm.
and slash thought. Send some suggestions for the 20 seconds so that we can cover a broader range of subjects. So that somebody, for example, I'm just thinking, this is not my expertise, but I know in my city, high school kids, we're constantly talking about mental health issues.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to, I'll actually volunteer, since I'm opening my mouth the first here. I'll volunteer to say something from that angle, but any help on that subject, what can be conveyed and in what style, it would be helpful. But I'm willing to take something.
So these are, so this is the old version, but it's okay.
It is?
It is.
Oh,
Because the new version has exactly what I just mentioned. The 988,
got
the QR
let me see
code.
if I can find it.
Okay, I sent
What are
it
they, how many messages?
3. So we did 4, but they're actually only ordering 3.
Okay.
It's the set I sent to John Cohen.
Oh, right, okay.
So I like that suggestion, and I don't want to be too prescriptive. The idea is you introduce yourself. You did, Larry Klein, mayor of Sunnyvale, because I want all cities represented. And then you can say, why you care about mental health. Why is it so important for our community?
In 20 seconds for each.
I just think, honestly, I'm flexible on the time. So each city,
Oh,
20 to 30 seconds, just say something, introduce yourself, because then our team at the city will put together these iPhone videos, so that we show, so it's gonna be, they're gonna put it together nicely.
Landscape or portrait?
Landscape or portrait. Okay, what should we text Sonia?
That's always, I have this argument with several people.
We'll get
every
direction
day.
from Sonia and then send an email.
Sorry, that to me is a critical thing.
No vertical video. I think it's-
Some people are like, I do that, I do the same thing. I'm like, I want a landscape photo for everything because I can crop it to
Yeah.
portrait. And they're like, no, everything has to be portrait because it's better for the TikTok and Instagram generation. Anyway.
So we will send out an email after talking to Sonia, who's our PIO, and she'll tell us exactly what she needs. So here are the signs.
Sorry.
So which 3?
Yes, sorry.
I know.
You said 4.
I actually don't know which
Oh,
one
okay.
to decide on.
No problem.
But it's
That's
3
what-
of these. It's 3 of these, and if you scroll down, it shows one on a stand, just so you have a visual of what it looks like. And again, the idea is every city would have, 20 of these signs, and they would put them close to City Hall in downtown. So anybody visiting any of our cities, they would see the same signs and the same message from all of us. And Gabe and I are also going to work with Caltrans to get permission to put them in the median on El Camino. Okay, question?
So they're available, you said the 30.
May 30th.
30.
But they're gonna be delivered here, and then
Yeah.
Shali will have to work with the city managers on delivery.
And then you need the videos to get that info.
So
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And then what is the plan that she will take?
On
off the
June
30?
13th for our event, it's gonna be one of the videos we show
Oh.
as part of our mental health awareness initiative, because that will be an item on the agenda, just talking about our initiative,
Okay.
showing the video
Mhm.
of all our cities, just talking about mental health in our communities and why we care.
Okay.
And then the last thing for the June 13th, and I'll open up for questions, is an update on the panel. So two things. One, we invited Dave Cortese because this past year especially has worked on a lot of mental health bills. So I invited him as a keynote speaker. He hasn't said no about it. I saw him at an event last week and he goes, want to do it. You know, I'm not saying no, just have to make it work. So tentatively, we'll have Dave Cortese at the event talking about the mental health bills he has worked on. We will also have a panel moderated by Mariko, who we all know, former council member, but also she's executive director for CASCC, which is a mental health organization. And she will moderate the panel. And so far we have 3 confirmed panelists. There may be a 4th. We have Tyler Taylor, who attended our last meeting to talk about mental health as it relates to seniors. We will have David Mineta from Momentum Health, who will talk about mental health in our communities. We will have someone from the county that Steve Preminger arranged. Sorry, but she will talk about the school-linked services program that the county funds. Because again, our theme is how can cities and counties help to support our communities address this mental health crisis.
Actually,
Oh,
put together, yeah. Yeah, that's his program.
So, and I should text him and tell him another reason you should come because
Exactly.
so they're going to talk about that because, you know, it's a way for us to figure out, are there ways for us to partner with the county? How do we really support mental health? Because as we know, traditionally, it's been a county service, but it's part of our community, it's very present. Are there things we can do as a city to help to address the mental health crisis? So that's the county. And then the potential 4th panelist would be someone from El Camino. They have offered, to be honest, and I'd love to get your thoughts. If Dave Cortese will be our keynote, I think having only 3 panelists is enough. Yeah, right. But if Dave isn't coming, then we could add a 4th. And El Camino is flexible, so they will have a 4th person. So Marika will do the panel.
I think having somebody from any medical background is always helpful. You're bringing a professional person. Because all the
Great
other.
point, Tina, you're right. David doesn't,
Uh-huh.
neither does Tyler or, well, I don't know. I think she may be an RN, but not a, so
Rico, maybe.
Marita, but also the county person may have a medical background. That person is in behavioral health. So I don't know, but I like the point you're making about having someone from El Camino.
Mhm. Somebody neutral, and this is a nod, I mean, they are supporting, sponsoring our event. I think it's.
So I like your suggestion regardless of what I'm about to say. We will also give Dan Woods, who's the CEO for El Camino, he'll be speaking for 5 minutes about their mental health programs. He's already on the agenda. Okay, so we do have there, so yes, they're contributing $9,000.
I was just gonna say, if we can't get someone to talk on schooling services, maybe the El Camino person can talk about adolescent mental health.
Yeah, but that's Mariko. I think Mariko will be focusing on that, so I
Well,
would.
she's the moderator.
Yeah. Not speaking.
Yeah. But I like your suggestion. So let's talk to John about getting someone from El Camino. But to your point, yes, we already gave them a spot on the agenda.
Okay, but
Because
in any case, a professional,
Right.
so thanks, okay. That's my 2 cents.
any other questions? And so we're opening the doors at 6:30. We will not start the formal event because Tina will still have her LAC meeting, which sometimes goes till 6:45. And that's fine because we will give people an opportunity to socialize, make it over there. And then we'll kick off the meeting maybe around 7:15. We're treating it as a special meeting based on the advice from council. So we'll do roll call. We'll go through public comment. We'll open it up for public comment. No, or special meeting or
special meeting too.
or
Okay.
social event.
Just asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our attorneys are advising us, and we went through the same thing for our LaSalle State of this it is, even though it's a social.
New, Now I know what you're talking about.
Right, so it's a special meeting. We'll be doing roll call, only for board meetings, even though there'll be council members from all cities, only for our board, and then public comment. And so then we'll start the formal program. I don't want it to be more than 1 hour because I know people appreciate being able to socialize and mingle. So that's the plan for June 13th. Questions, comments?
Andrew, as far as that ruling, can you pass that information to at least the executive board? Because I want to figure out whether or not this is a discussion that conceivably the whole board has. Is this the standard practice that cities should be doing now? So.
And we have a memo. If, Andrew, do you have that handy? It came out, I think, in March.
Yeah, I'm happy to circulate. There's an attorney general opinion that I think has become I guess, well known for addressing state of the city matters, but I'm happy to send it around to everyone if that would be helpful. The attorney general did take a fairly, I guess, narrow view of some of the potential exemptions, and seems to be clearly erring the side of if there's a possibility that would be a public meeting, it should be a public meeting.
Okay, much
But happy
appreciated.
to share that with everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Just a small point, I will not be recording or live streaming the event, even though it's a special meeting.
Was that the last meeting?
The last meeting,
Regular meeting.
yeah, well, maybe we can talk about whether to live stream or not, because it's a lot of, after we're done, a lot of stuff for me to like wrap up and then go over there. So do you want to live stream, or do you want to just do a Zoom recording? We can talk about it later, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I was telling Lisa that I will be late for the event. There's a youth academy that kicks off at 6 p.m. that evening. But, so I'll be there for the first 15 minutes of that, and then I'll be here long before 7:15, not a problem, but I just wanted to bring that.
And who knows, Larry, you may also have to go to the LAC meeting.
No, that won't be the case.
And you
That
know
will-
why
that
we're
will-
joking.
that will happen again.
Are you sure? Are you
No,
ready?
But yeah,
Are you sure?
I know.
I'm never sure.
Make sure you
I'm
stop
not
here
sure of
before
anything.
you head to the party.
Who's the alternate, talking of that?
Murley,
Murley, right?
yeah.
Oh,
So
there's
nobody
even a-
informed
So he will probably be,
Yeah, but nobody informed him
let's
last night.
not talk about.
Let's, we're off
It's an
topic.
open meeting.
Off topic.
Sorry.
Okay, off topic. All right, any other
I'll bring it up
questions?
when we talk LAC.
Any other questions or comments on item number 4? Any public comments? Okay, very excited. Thank you all. Thank you, Shali. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Gabe and team. We'll move to item number 5, and really, we'll just do LAC because I just covered the special meeting for June 13th.
Okay.
So let's do item 5, and this is an action item. Oh, we do have to approve the agenda.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so 5A, I'll turn it over to our lecturer.
Okay, very simple. Sorry, I'm pulling this up. We are having SVCE new chair, new CEO, Monica Padilla, and Benna Chang, the Director of Government and Legislative Affairs, talk about the climate and sustainability legislation on that June date, the 13th. And after they have presented, they're watching this space, which is constantly evolving. So the list of bills in item number 3, bills for Legislative Action Committee for their consideration, I'll send a tentative list, but I'm fairly confident by that week, the list may change. So it's going to be a quick turnaround by LAC members based on what Monica and Benna present, that we get to take a vote. But I'll give some heads up ahead of time, bring some tentative bills that I can think of a week ahead. And that's about it. I don't have much else there. The question logistics, so 2 questions that came up earlier under the LAC meeting. One is, yes, for Sunnyvale, the request is, well, thank you, Mayor Klein, for showing up that day, and I observed that you're not even the alternate. That's why I asked you to thinking maybe I read it wrong. If your main LAC member could let the alternate know ahead of time.
That has been brought up.
So, because Sunnyvale is an important voice to have there. I mean, other than that, it doesn't matter to me personally. And so thank you for coming, and next time if we can have Murley, if the main doesn't come up. And the second thing was the recording. It's a regular LAC meeting. It is.
I agree, treat it like a regular meeting.
So I think we should treat it. What I can do is I can work with Monica and Rena to keep it a little shorter, or once I get the number of bills and where they are leaning, I can talk to them offline and contain the LAC members' discussion of the bill. So they ask the questions of Monica and Benna under their presentation. So we can just quickly zip through yes, no votes. And maybe I'll make a phone call to Vice Mayor Fruin as he helped us out last time. Because we were going around in circles in discussions and he was like, let's move on, there are other bills. Which I did meet him somewhere and I said, thank you, JR. Thank you for making that happen. So my goal is going to be what I'm thinking ahead is if at all possible to finish by 6:30, target that 45 minutes, 30 minutes for the presentation, 15 minutes for us to quickly vote and maybe mention to the others, free wine if you get there early. That's not early. Seriously.
One agenda item.
No, there are two.
No, there are two.
Yeah, they're two separate items.
Okay.
They talk about the legislative issues in that space. And that is the one opportunity in the year where the LAC committee can talk to them about climate sustainability space, what's happening there. And then just a few bills. My guess is it'll be a much narrower list by that time. It's already condensing and it's a few weeks away. Today, I believe I picked up in the morning news, is the last day for the bodies for the bills in Sacramento.
For each, yes, for each house. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So things will start condensing.
Coalescing.
Yeah, coalescing, thank you, that's right, by that time. So yeah, two separate agenda items, but really the topic is only one. And so we should be able to wrap it up, hopefully by 6:30. I'll start the meeting at 5:30 if I get done.
Yes.
Yeah, and thank you, Andrew, and thank you to Jenny. I did get clarification because that 2 meetings ago in Sunnyvale, there was this confusion. No, you can't count this quorum. I'm not an attorney. I'm like, I can't count those to our agenda if they're in the jurisdiction. No, you can't add it up. So sometimes that happens. And so we'll move as quickly as I get quorum. Trust
And
me.
hopefully because there's a social event after, they'll all come in person.
Yes,
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did leave that placeholder for JR and Peter Ortiz, but.
And then Gabe, I just want to follow up and you and I can talk offline, but I want to give you a heads up because Shali will be staffing the LAC meeting until 6:30 or maybe 6:45, who knows how long it will run. We were hoping maybe Anthony can help with the check-in table or anyone from your staff because Shali said she needs to get over there, but she'll be here. So we can talk about whether or not we can have a city person. help with- Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Tina?
No, a big thanks to Gabe for that, because I can't manage my meeting without Charlie.
Or maybe said Anthony.
So maybe I'll come early and sit in at 6:30, I'm leaving.
That helps, even if you come at 6:25, at 6:30, remind everyone, hey, I'm leaving, free drinks.
Yeah,
We definitely need alcohol.
yeah, the free wine is gonna go like that.
Okay, thank you. So we need a motion approving the LAC agenda for June 13th.
We also have the second agenda.
Yeah, we're gonna do them. Oh, the agenda for the June 13th special meeting, it's very simple. We're gonna open it, welcome, roll call. It's part of the packet. It's the event, and then we adjourn.
Public comment, open.
Public comment.
Public comment. I know.
Wait,
Yeah. I'll tell you what we did on our State of the Citizen. But yes, we will definitely have public comment. We'll open it for public comment, then we'll move to the agenda, which is the event, and then we'll adjourn. So we'll entertain a motion to approve both agendas for June 13th.
Second by Klein.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention?
I did say. Maybe.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. I'm actually very excited about the next item only because, you know, whenever we would run out of time at our other meetings, we'd skip this. And I will start off by saying, and Shali knows this, the number of people reaching out to us to get on our agenda, we cannot schedule. Like, I just want to be very good. And we're doing our best to squeeze people in because I actually think a lot of what they're asking to talk about is relevant to what we're doing as cities. So we really want to focus. I know Shali can share with you what we have. Do you want to do potential? I saw that you separated it. So do you want to do potential speakers versus future meeting topics, or you want to combine those two?
Let's combine them because
Yeah.
the way, so I got the meeting document.
No, good.
And so the way that we've been talking about it is there's a theme to each meeting, like a
Right.
topic. So-
Exactly. So our next meeting will be August, and that will be somewhere in South County, either Morgan Hill or Milpitas. Obviously Morgan Hill was the identified city initially, but their city hall does not have AC, and Morgan Hill will be AV.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do it. Audio visual. Audio visual, like we can, okay. That's less of a problem. I thought it was AC. Like, yeah, Morgan Hill, exactly.
100 degrees?
So they don't have an AV, are they replacing their
They're
AV system?
replacing their AV system.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So Christine, the city manager, was apologetic because of the AV issue. So she offered the community center. Shelley, I'll have you explain.
So I asked for an alternate, since we've been talking about this for a bit. So there's a community center room that we could have. It does not have, audio visual capability. So I would probably use two, if we did it there, I would use two laptops, we could do it. And if you'd like to do it that way, then I can just book that room.
And the alternative is to do Milpitas
Yeah.
as City Hall, which is nice, with Carmen's the mayor there, and it's also South County. Because what we had actually said, we would do one Central County, South County, and of course, Mark Turner lobbied for Morgan Hill. So the decision right now is whether or not we want to go with the Morgan Hill Community Center, which also doesn't have AV, but they're not in the middle of switching out anything, so we could actually use the room with laptops, or do we use Milpitas as City Hall?
And I haven't approached Milpitas until we decided to do.
So I would go for South County, just to be fair.
Right?
Milpitas is not.
Consider
So Carmen says she's North County, she says she's East County, and a little bit of, so it's like, so from that standpoint, I would much prefer to do the trek to Morgan Hill
That's definitely.
and manage the technology ourselves.
The architect thanks the engineer for pointing that direction.
The right-
Orientation out.
What Carmen described, I've heard South County.
I have also.
Right.
And
But
she
she
wants
has.
to be part of the North County Mayor's group. She wants
Maybe that's-
oh, yes, no, it's exactly that. So,
Okay, so I think we're gonna stick with, so like casino, so the community center. And if they could roll any AV equipment in,
Yeah,
because I think the laptop may be limiting.
yeah, it might be a little limiting.
Right.
We could do it, right? If we had to, but
And on that subject, what I can share with you, may I be permitted to touch a bit on Black?
Okay, I'm very.
So, it is South County and I had the same concern. It may be limiting, so I will not touch the technical part. If we can manage it, I would prefer that, even though that commute is going to be worse for all of us.
I'll do it.
but hey,
Yeah, we'll go together, but
that's why having a LAC meeting is important that night.
yeah, but I will not get carpool. I'll have to drive myself. Nobody's gonna.
Understood, but the earlier we go, the
So
earlier
I-
everyone goes,
Ah,
better it is will be for everyone. If you're trying to be there at 7,
Okay,
you might as well leave it.
okay.
You
And
might-
we intentionally for August, school,
I
still
understand.
get out there, we're hoping there'll be less traffic.
Good point. It'll be a headache, but I would still in principle say, South County, Morgan Hill, we have talked of that for months.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And actually, I have planned accordingly, for my LAC meeting that day on AI bills. I have a tentative yes from somebody to talk on the bills. I need to follow up on the details. But I do have a fairly firm, agreement from, Assemblymember Gail Pellerin office, Rob Moore, basically. And he has that marked somewhere, whether she comes in person or via Zoom is not clear. But that was the, incentive I used, that we are in South County that day, your district, and that is the right moment for you to be here, and she has a bill on AI. So that's how the planning, which takes months, moving things around, suddenly going to Milpitas, which is North County, It's just keeping a consistent theme.
It's not South County. Let's define it as not South County.
The north, not south county.
Right.
So those are my 2 cents worth. And the other question which I needed to ask under LAC was, or a comment and a question. The comment was, we sent the letters out for the position letters on the 8 bills that we went through in the last meeting, both LAC and the board. And the board had ratified all the positions from the LAC membership, and the letters have been sent. And this time Shally was uploading them.
Yes, because for the other the other topic that you all, the two of you had written a letter for, Zane was not able to upload it because he was in meetings that afternoon. But he showed me how to do it, which is great. And now I have my own login. Yeah, totally.
So she did that, and so that was thanks to Shally. And the other request is, at some point, if we can upload all of these
Yeah.
position letters on our website. It's really good to show people this is the work we are doing, and to, that's like a carrot to get them to send me information ahead of time. So
No,
that's a
totally,
request.
I'm not doing it because I'm not doing it.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned that,
It's
Tina.
technical.
Because I should have updated the executive committee, so the letter that Tina just referenced that we sent to our representatives related to the governor's budget. So remember, the budget came out and it basically cut or REAP 2.0 funding. And so ABAG had sent an alert saying, please send letters saying how important it is to your cities to have this funding. And we know that aligns with our mission and our priorities. So Tina and I, to the bylaws we just adopted, were able to send a letter, including the template language for ABAC about the regional impact, but still including a paragraph saying we have benefited as a cities association, and our cities have, from the planning collaborative funding that we received last year. So we really need the 2.0 if you want us to meet all the things we said we were going to do in our housing element update. So that happened. We got the letter in. I know ABAC received it. I don't know if anybody else received it. I know ABAC did. So that's the letter that we were able to send out quickly under the bylaws. So back to some potential speakers. We're set for August because we're having Senator Bell. Do you want to go through? Yeah.
Oh, sure.
No, this is all from, like, I am, yeah, this is brains getting old.
Location Morgan Hill, we've got Director Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking on model water efficiency new development ordinance, Moendo. Let's see. So touching back on REAP, we were thinking about having the planning collaborative come, because we should have all contracts and legal documents signed, but the board will not have voted on their contract.
When are we getting their contract, Andrew? I am signing it. It's,
You and Jamie are signed.
okay. Does the board have to approve? Oh, this is different. This is the ABAG contract
Yeah.
that Jania and I will sign. And then we separately have to do the Cities Association and Planning Collaborative contract.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
So that most likely won't come till August or next meeting.
So it's okay for our consultants to come and speak for a half hour, just kind of give an update. Because the last thing they had spoken about was their work plan for 2024. And by August, we'll be 8 months in, and we haven't really been.
Blame it on the governor.
I know, there's a lot of blaming on the governor. But I thought he could give us an update on what the status was, like
Yeah,
how they
and
went out.
Yeah, and I don't believe we've seen a copy of the contract yet, but I'm sure we'll be happy to turn around as soon as we get it, but I haven't seen it yet.
They just, I think was it today or yesterday, Andrew, they asked about the DocuSign information. So I don't know when it's gonna come to you.
Yeah, we haven't seen a copy yet. I don't know if you have, Shally, but I haven't seen it.
I don't know,
So that's the going down the August agenda.
yeah.
Planning collaborative updates, if they haven't given us an update on their work plan, now that we have money to pay them.
Yeah.
Because just to circle back to the letter that Tina and I drafted, ABAG is fronting this money that we're allowed to pay. That's because HCD committed to reimbursing, I think, 25%, which gave the COGS the ability to say, okay, we're gonna fund some of these projects. So they still don't know if the budget will come down, but they basically are putting this money on the line.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's August. Anything else on the August agenda?
No, I mean, there's little, you're gonna be voting on my contract.
Right, no, the substantive, because we're looking
Yeah.
at speakers' topics, and then,
Oh, we're thinking about, for the regional update, since you're here, either you or Carmen to give an update on EOAC. No.
What, in August?
meeting. What's EAOC?
Emergency operations. Yeah.
I think it's a good idea.
Yes,
You can.
you want to give it to Carmen, you both don't have, oh, but they're different districts.
Yeah, I
He's
think,
one.
yeah, I think that's why we said we'll have them both do it.
August, sure, I guess.
It's a 5-minute update, what's
Yeah.
happening?
We know, that's fine.
Give a brief update. What I find beneficial from these regional updates is I'm learning because
Yeah.
we don't get time. Otherwise, I ask my city manager, he gives me a 2-sentence answer. It's taken care of by XYZ, whatever, you're good. I don't get educated, and I'm the person who needs to understand when residents ask me, or even if they don't ask me, I need to know what the heck's going on. So,
There was
I think
one
that they,
thing
I think
that,
the thing is they scheduled the meeting without reaching out to people. They only meet, we know, there's only like one meeting a year. And they scheduled it without reaching out to people, and it conflicts with another meeting I have.
how about,
If I remember, it actually conflicted with this meeting this afternoon. I was rather,
So,
I was.
really?
There's nothing to update, that, because we were looking at you and Carmen in August, and then Jonathan Weinberg is our district, so it's all, marked up, so we're gonna have Jonathan in September, right? Well, the reason why, and I actually, in full disclosure, I said, let's have Jonathan do it in September, is he lives here in Los Altos, we'll be back in Los Altos, he works in San Mateo County. Yeah, so I was trying to accommodate you, so we said we would do Jonathan in
Okay.
September.
So here is the thought, and again, Larry, if there's nothing to report.
There's nothing,
no-
and we have other people on the list,
Okay.
so we could
But-
do another topic.
What I'm saying,
Let me confirm.
okay, but there's one thing you wanted to ask.
can I, please, okay, so even if, and consider this, feel free to say no. Even if you explain what that organization does with cities, I am really not aware of anything.
Okay,
That's the point I'm trying to make.
okay, that's fine.
I wanted to ask what Cal ID RAN is.
Your name is next to that appointment too.
Well, the Cal ID ran,
Yeah.
so that's the fingerprint. I can do that one easily. Yes.
That's for a few, I think we put that in
Yes.
October.
So the EOAC meeting started a half hour before this meeting. And I told them, I'm like, you need to, they didn't poll, they just pick a date.
And it's the Friday before, maybe. remember-
Oh, exactly. Anyway. I'll leave it at that.
So let us know what
I
topic.
can easily do the Cal ID RAN thing. That's actually very interesting.
Oh, okay.
I can do that one.
Let's do-
Did you put two
No, we'll run out of time.
No, we always run out of time.
I know, so we will work with Larry to confirm what he'll give an
I have
update
the
on.
packet if you want to. I can forward the packet to you so you can read
No,
it
but to
yourself.
Tina's point, even if you don't know exactly what the committee is up to today, you can step back.
Oh,
and say,
absolutely. No,
This
I've
is
been.
what it is, this,
So I'm happy to, it's like, by August, I could read what the latest update was and summarize it into a 2-minute thing. So either way,
Okay,
if,
thank you.
figure out what it is.
So because of the time, I mean, so Shali and I just to, we have something scheduled for every month based on requests, just so you know, we're good through November. The point of this is to share it with you to see if there are other speakers that have approached. So for example, Tarana Wireless approached me and Margaret about speaking, that's Carl Gardino, about speaking here, and our calendars are full. But this is based on what Shali and I have compiled over the last 8 months. Has it been 8? 6. So we don't want to, like, for example, I'm throwing out Toronto Wireless there. Do you want us to squeeze that in somewhere? Do we tell Carl no? It's our decision to set our agenda.
After that, I have another thought on something else.
Okay, again, you're president next year. These are things that could roll over year.
And I'm happy with that. I don't want to as we've seen the last few meetings,
Yes.
we don't want to shortchange the topics that we do cover. And we don't want to, and that's why when it's like, oh, Cal ID ran an EOAC. I'm like, okay, it's good, except I don't want to keep people here just to do the updates. It's useful. It's great information.
Right.
But if we actually have, let's say, meaty substantive topics that we should be talking about, I don't want to keep people here till 10 o'clock and for an update. And it's good, it's useful information, but.
No, this is good.
And,
So-
and on that note, maybe this will be something I'll do next year. A video, there's things that
Oh,
people.
for the representatives?
For the representatives, like just record, and you can come to the meeting or not, but you don't actually, anyway. we can talk
Good
about-
idea.
Because a lot of people exactly that.
Yeah.
Have no idea what all these appointees are, and that should be better covered on our website, but that's from a cities association standpoint, but.
That's under the website,
Yeah.
that we have to do.
Right. Oh, we should add
That's
update
summer.
from the committee in August.
That's
But,
our
so
things.
what I think we should do just to close this item, then what I'm hearing is, okay, go ahead.
I don't know if it's in this item or next item, and.
We're combining those two items.
Okay,
So we're
great.
combining,
Then I'm in the right place.
6 and 7. We're combining
Okay,
6 and 7.
okay, yeah. So this has been covered at Cities Association, but we had a very important meeting that you reached out to us, inviting the Cities Association of the council members to go and attend the CASCC event on Wednesday, which was a great event. A couple of thoughts based on the Wednesday's meeting and the prior Cities Association meeting, the one we had in Sunnyvale on that subject. I'm talking only about the subject.
Okay.
So, I have two questions or two concerns or whatever, areas to bring to your attention. To get the support and buy-in, at least, especially for the smaller cities, I think the question, again, this is my lack of knowledge, Measure A funds, how were they disseminated? How did they get used?
I'm happy to do that one too.
And
Doesn't have it all.
And at that meeting, this team, cities had at Sunnyvale, Consuelo ran out of time, but there was that open question, which again did not get addressed 2 days ago. How is the program going to be formulated? How is the dollar amount to be disseminated? I will say it very straightforward. Residents in Saratoga will say, I am paying heck of a lot more money. I am getting burned with a builder's remedy next to me. I'll share the housing element story after this meeting is over. And you're asking me, my taxpayer dollar, so much more is going to go. And I am still getting hammered by HCD and the state with no benefit to, forget about me, not even to the city of Saratoga. I'm getting punished, paying for it, et cetera, et cetera. You cannot, if I am permitted to say so, you cannot get the buy-in from the voters, and to be able to go to the voters, to have the council members support this. If we want to do this, we need Consuelo or somebody. What happened with Measure A? What are we going to do? And they need to have that plan. And somebody made a comment the other day, you need to get that plan before November, you, the county.
So let me answer.
So I'll leave it at that.
So that was already the plan for Consuelo to come back, either September or October. So that's already, and we had said it at the meeting and Larry knows. We had said it when Consuelo was there, because when Consuelo came to our meeting, she actually had no direction. She was actually hesitant because she had no direction from the board of supervisors. I actually made a comment about it at the meeting on how they were going to do it. So she couldn't speak ahead of the board. The board still hasn't decided how they're going to roll out this plan. I mean, the enabling legislation does require input and collaboration with the cities. And so the idea Consuelo had was, and that's what we said we would do, is she's like, hopefully by September, the board has given some direction. They're her bosses. And then she would come back to us to get our input on developing this expenditure plan, the oversight issue, whether or not it's going to be returned to source. Like, that's the kind of input. I will tell you, as cities, we're going to have to lobby hard, because the ultimate decision is left to the board of supervisors. And we want to make sure, to Larry's point at the meeting on Wednesday, we want to make sure it's benefiting our citizens, not just going to San Jose and the unincorporated areas. So that's already the plan for Consuelo to come back for us to give our input. It goes to the board, they vote, they decide how they want to do it. We'll talk to them and figure out how to make it work legally. They're not required to have that plan in place, which to your point about having it done by November, until February. But politically, because the election is in November, it would benefit all of us to be able to lobby and campaign to say this is how it's going to benefit our cities, so they're having the expenditure plan in place. So they don't have to have it done till February, but there are so many benefits, especially because the current polling, and there's going to be a new polling that comes out next week actually, but the current polling, as Larry knows well, we're 25% of the electorate and we're the lowest polling county of the 9. We're 46%. And this also assumes that ACA 1 passes, right? Because the current threshold is 2/3. If ACA doesn't pass, we're so far below 66%. If it passes, right now, the average is 55, but we're the ones bringing it down. So I agree with you, Tina, it's a big issue when it comes to getting support from our city residents, because we need them. It's not going to pass without them buying in, no matter how much advocacy takes place.
Thank you.
So I talked to a couple of people already in my city. What I was trying to convey is, even if San Jose Mountain View builds low-income housing, it benefits Cupertino. Because people can live there and work in our place, you know, so it's the regional benefit. It's not per city. And I'm actually very honest with one resident. I said, well, you know, Cupertino might not have the will to build affordable housing. But if Mountain View has, Sunnyvale has, it benefits us. So I don't know if Saratoga has the will to build 100%, then build around us helps our residents. We're gonna have a service cliff. People are not gonna be able to hire anybody to work in retail, to work in our senior homes, to, you know, nursing assistant. It would benefit us if our region has a lot of,
I hear you.
and the two of them actually agreed, said, oh, okay, we could accept that.
No, if I may, I hear you, person to person. Will I stand behind it as a Saratoga representative based on what the Saratoga residents are going to say? The answer is probably going to know. There's a reason I throw in that housing element. You don't have the builder's remedy. You have land, we don't have land, and we are hammered by the maximum number of builder's remedy. So I won't be able to stand behind it. I'm being upfront, that's why I have to say it here. Because their answer to your question is, or your statement is, yes, but then take out some percentage of our low affordable housing requirement from Saratoga. So that ain't going too far. The ones who are already agreed will be fine. You can't go beyond that, not in Saratoga. That's why I'm bringing it here.
And I'll tell you why the expenditure plan helps with both these points. If it's a return to source, and again, we don't know if they'll follow the Measure A model, and the Measure A model, remember, all supervisors said, ideally, we want to put a project in each city. And they really wanted to do that. We all have housing element updates where we identify building all these projects. We don't have the funding for it, right? So it's whatever you have in that housing element update that's going to need funding that we could draw from, or else it won't get built, right? So that's one way to look at it. And that's why we need to make sure the expenditure plan looks out for each city to the extent we apply. They're going to have an application process. But if a city has a plan in the pipeline, it's ready to go, every city in Santa Clara County should get money, I think. I mean, that's what we should lobby for.
If the city has a plan.
If the city has a plan ready to go.
But that's the whole thing. That's where I again say Saratoga is unique. City cannot have a plan because city doesn't own the land. The projects are on private property.
Oh, there'll be an application process for private, yes, like
Again,
affordable housing.
The program needs to be very clear.
I get it.
That's why I'm trying to get into, sometimes it's all in the weeds, the details, and this is one of those.
I'll give you the last word, Larry.
Won't be the last word, because I'm asking a question.
Okay.
You know, in my opinion, September's too late. If Consuelo is getting information from us in September,
Right.
it's far too late. And whether or not we can move that to August, I don't know. But in my mind, each of our cities should be talking to their supervisor and saying, this needs to be decided by September. Not, in my opinion,
Right.
it can be there in September, but but we should be advocating with our supervisors.
I agree.
And you all.
I agree.
You
I
all have
agree.
one supervisor who I was actually on the phone with last night.
Right.
But that's the critical thing. It's like, you know, in my mind, my city, even though we're very pro-housing, will not get on board with this. And she can update us on Measure A, or I can update us on Measure A usage.
Or how
but-
they div it up. I think the
but-
formula.
But because the process, from a supervisor standpoint, if she's collecting information from us in September, that means, they'd be lucky to get to it by November. And that's my biggest thing is I'm hoping that this is resolved by September so that we can actually do advocacy from a city standpoint. Otherwise, I would not bring it towards in front of my council
Right.
for well, we basically do all the bills, but I would say no vote because we don't know how that money's spent.
So I'll tell you two things, and I'm happy to reach out to Consuelo, and Charlie can as well. Consuelo will not do this until she gets some direction from the board.
Okay.
So to your point, I think we all need to lobby our supervisors.
Absolutely.
This is urgent, right? Yes, they'll say, oh, it's not due till February, so we have time. But in fact, we need it done before. So I get the message. I think we talked to Consuelo. I know she's gonna say she needs direction from her board. And I do think Shali and I can move around some things for August. If Consuelo said, okay, I have direction from the board. Remember, the board's going on summer break too. They take a summer break, is it 6 or 8 weeks? So if they don't have it on the agenda in the next month,
Exactly.
yeah. And Supervisor Chavez and Lee, who serve on ABAG, who voted in support of BAFA, they get the timeline, right? They understand the timeline. So I'm glad you raised us. We could do I'll look to Andrew. Should we do a letter? Does this align with our priorities? Should we do a city association letter, Andrew, to the board of supervisors on this issue? I think it aligns with our priority of housing. Tina?
Yeah.
I think it does. I think we should do a letter.
Yeah.
Let's do a letter.
Otherwise, it ain't happening. And
Right. Let's do it. We're gonna we'll do a letter. We'll get that out hopefully by next week and push for them to, maybe we do an all of us sign.
I'm happy to do
All
that.
of us sign. Let's all of us sign.
Yeah.
Get Margaret, the executive committee, and send it to them next week.
And on kind of a similar note, when we started COVID, it's worthwhile to do a similar letter from the mayors.
You
and-
push it.
And
Pressure.
so, because we have a meeting, I think there's a mayor's meeting next month.
Push it, Larry.
And I'll, you know, it's like the number of letters, the numbers of advocacy that they get from each of our organizations that they need to make a decision, I think is critical at the end of that. But anyway, I'll add that
I
to
like
my
this.
list.
I
I'll
do
add
like
that
this.
to my
We'll
list.
get the letter, and
Yeah,
push it out.
from this organization, absolutely, and then I'll see from others.
Okay. Andrew, do we need a motion for that letter?
Yeah, I think we should take a motion since this is going to be an action at the executive committee.
Yeah, so I'll make a motion that the executive committee writes a letter, composes a letter and has it signed by everyone for a advocacy to the Santa Clara Board of Supervisors to define the distribution and oversight for the potential regional housing measure on the November ballot.
We also show up at their public comment and non-agenda.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
Second,
thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. See, this brainstorming is really productive. All right. Any public comment on these two items, 6 and 7?
No.
Thank you. Okay, next we will move to Mr. England on the city manager's update.
So something the city managers will be talking about, we're not yet, we had a meeting with PG&E to go over electrification, their infrastructure. The genesis of that meeting was a state law changing how you cities are required to purchase fleet, though most cities.
Everybody's familiar. Okay, you
Sorry.
you assume. This happens every year where the city manager will say something and people will say, oh, we didn't hear about that.
So the state passed a law, where I believe it's 50% of vehicles purchased have to be electric moving forward, with the exception of, police patrol vehicles. But if you do purchase police patrol vehicles that are electric, you get like extra credit.
And when is this effective?
It's effective this year, moving forward.
Okay, so it's already in effect.
July.
July 1. So this, moving forward this fiscal year, but you can get back credit for the past 2 years of your purchases. So cities had been electrifying before that. Meeting with PG&E was to discuss that, and they had essentially told us that they wouldn't have the infrastructure in place for cities to electrify for several years, which was not happy and great news for us. So we,
Head is the dog to the left hand.
yeah, so we asked them to come talk to the city managers group. All of our cities are going through it at different rates, but with the new state law, it's going to become a lot more common. So trying to get PG&E to straighten out how they're going to do this and where they're going to put their infrastructure investments at, particularly around the mandates of the state.
This is statewide.
Yeah, so it's they were relaying the city of San Jose was getting ready to go, and they were trying everything to stop San Jose from purchasing the electric vehicles because they said they wouldn't be able to provide the service to them. So we don't know how widespread or serious it is yet, but as a first kickoff meeting, not a great starting point.
Questions?
So that is only for the ones that are going to be purchased. Does that mean cities will end up delaying purchases because PG&E is not going to support them? So rather than deal with the state's headaches, we have plenty with the housing elements.
Yeah, so PG&E pushes back on almost everything initially. So again, it's a bad starting point, but we're not sure yet what their official stance is. I don't think the cities are going to be able to delay the purchases. The way the state wrote the law, cities will likely probably be purchasing extra vehicles that they may not need to be able to comply with it. So it'll actually accelerate it a little bit quicker.
So it's not 50% of the fleet, it's the 50% of the fleet purchased.
50% of the fleet purchases, but they have a very kind of convoluted metric behind it for the percentage they want you to get. You can get credit for the percentage you have. Los Altos, for example, has an order for an electric police cruiser, and we can back count that. So it's it's kind of a very odd metric how they did it, but the end of it is basically when you order moving forward, half of it's going to be electric.
Okay. Basically fudging the data using statistical, sorry, that's a technical architecture term. No, jokes aside, in architecture, we already did that, fudging stuff to make it appear the way you want it to, and so you can prove what you're doing, you're delivering. Okay, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's snuck under the radar.
Can you clarify what PG&E's pushback was? Was it Courtyard? When they're saying they can't meet the energy, if that was truly the case, then vehicles move, they would say, don't buy those EVs within the cities. Are they saying, like a San Jose, oh, at this Courtyard, it's going to take us 2 years to upgrade the infrastructure nearby in order to provide the energy that you need to park overnight and charge?
Yeah, so I think it's more getting the infrastructure in place, and there probably are locations that are good to go. Again, when they talked with us, they should be having these meetings with all the cities, so sometimes it's hard to schedule with them. It was difficult to tell other than, no, we can't do that, no, we won't have it in place, the specifics of what they were having issues with, which is why we want them to go to the city managers group so we can all kind of talk through it.
And Gabe, when are they going to the city managers group?
So I'm gonna ask to have it scheduled next meeting, so.
Because even as an informational item, not a big presentation, I think after they go to you guys, it'd be helpful for them to come to us.
Okay.
And we'll figure, so you got that, Shali?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could also hear directly from the city representatives.
So a quick question. So that's infrastructure EV charging that we're talking PG&E, right?
Well, so.
And what law is it? Let me add some more so you can give me a more comprehensive answer. Because I'm gonna text Monica at SVCE right now, because how many more are we talking in the county, in SVCE territory? What's the extra electric load we are talking of, if it's suddenly going to ramp up? They need to be aware of it if they are not yet aware of it. So I'll just shoot her a one-liner.
It all depends upon when the vehicles are being replaced, which, you know, it's like as long as Sunnyvale's buying 2 this year and 10 next year. So one would have to be an EV this year, and 5 would have to be but you don't know. So every city is going to be different on what the replacement schedule.
Their vehicle plan, yeah.
I get it, but it's something for them to just add it to their list of two, if it's gonna be a lot.
I say we buy all our vehicles now before
Well-
June 30th.
Well, once you've started, even though that is the 50% how the math works, once you'll hit a tipping point pretty quick where you're actually not gonna wanna buy gas vehicles because you changed your infrastructure, you changed everything over. So it's going to accelerate. We'll do 50% this year, 50% next year. This year, we're gonna install at our police station, so we can charge all of our patrol vehicles. At a certain point, the 50% won't matter to us
They'll
anymore.
go to the graveyard.
So what's the infrastructure issue from PG&E, only the charging, or?
Well, so again, it was hard to, they were,
Is they're saying it's gonna take 2 years.
Okay, they're saying it's gonna take 2 years, and what's the law, do you?
I'll send the law to Shelley and have her forward it up to you. So they were saying 6 years.
Oh,
So but it was hard to tell exactly what the opposition was and which piece and where it came from. So we just left that meeting telling them, hey, you're gonna have to come to the CM group, and you're also gonna have to come to the city association.
So where did I hear 2 years? So if they're saying it's gonna take them 6, is it to complete the whole thing 6 years? Cause come on.
To be ready for the transition, they said 6 years.
So to add the infrastructure in certain areas in San Jose is my guess. If you're going to it depends on.
It depends on a lot of local factors. So,
Are there any alternatives to PG&E doing the infrastructure?
well, so one of the technology, I mean, all technology seems to be moving fast, but on this, it's moving very fast. And one of the things, when you talk about peak demand, when you pull power, when you're charging vehicles, a lot of the technology is switching over to battery. So when we pull our stuff for our police station, we'll be pulling it at 2 a.m. So it'll be the cheapest electricity at a time where they should be able to meet the demand, and the battery charges it. But though that technology is available now, it's not.
Oh, I know. I used to be one of you. Yes.
So I did my Google search.
You find it, all right.
Starting January 1st, it doesn't give me the date or the bill number. Starting January 1st, 2024, 50% of vehicles must be zero emission vehicles, and 100% of purchases must be zero emission vehicles starting in January 1st, 2027. Small government fleets, those with 10 or fewer vehicles, and those in designated counties must start their zero EV purchases beginning in 2027, so they get an extra 3 years.
And you're so much more below this. That's
What is-
right.
what is small city? We don't know.
Small counties.
Small counties, yeah.
Small government, small government fleets, those with 10 or fewer vehicles, which you probably have
How
more
many
than
do
10.
we have?
I think we have.
Much more than that.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much.
Right.
Maybe mine.
Just to read out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And knowing that they have a lot for some reason.
Maybe.
Los Angeles they work with Saratoga and Cupertino, they're, with.
Of course, not only police,
That's excluded.
any kind of government cars, like the white cars.
Fire department.
We have more than that.
Yeah. No, it's.
So I don't mean to interrupt, but my firm actually has a memo about these new regulations, if that'd be helpful.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and
Andrew.
I believe there's also a pending legal challenge to the regulations, but I have to look up the details of that.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Are you able
Yeah.
to share with us sooner rather than later, Andrew?
Yeah, I can. I should be able to send that around.
Is it PG&E that challenged it?
No, I actually want to say, and I may be wrong, so my apologies if I am. I need to double check the details, but I believe it's some non-California states are challenging some of these regulations.
car manufacturing states.
Yeah, so some others, yeah, it's challenging. The strong push towards electrification of vehicles, especially heavy duty vehicles.
Oh, yeah, yeah, makes sense. Okay.
I will not send the law, we'll wait.
Legal memo, that would be very, Andrew, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Any
no
other
problem.
questions? Any other questions for Gabe? Gabe, anything else on your update? Welcome up after you talk to your city managers group, so we can, because I'm sure city reps will want to hear that.
Okay.
So thank you. All right, Shally, close us out.
Yeah, I've got very little since we've kind of done it throughout the meeting. All, for the June 13th event, all city council members have gotten their invitations. You've reached out to Gilroy, which is great. All county supervisors, do you have a contact in Otto Lee's office? Because my contact here is.
Wendy Ho, Wendy.
Oh, Wendy.
Wendy, he's chief.
Gosh, okay, thank you. The legislators from our area, I thought we had 9, but I could only think of 8. So
I don't know.
Laird, does Laird touch?
An assembly. We can get that to you.
I need language and information for the gift disclosure requirement, but I'll work with Andrew and Janie on that. So, previous board presidents, Chappie and Mark are both coming. And I'm going to invite Rod Sinks. Is there anyone else that you would want me to invite?
Chappie and Mariko,
Mariko.
former president.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Because we did the typical, since we focus on local and state issues, we only invited council members, county and state reps. So we didn't do congressional. That's it. Anybody else you think we should invite?
RSVP updates. We have 16 yeses already.
Already,
Yeah.
oh, good.
Not including Chappie and Mariko. 5 have declined already, but okay, whatever. I had a question actually. The signs, can we have 1 or 2 signs for the event as part of what the other thing?
Good idea, yep.
And what I'd really like to do is if we, looking at Gabe, if we could have whatever the 3 signs are, can we have them blown up so I can put them inside the grand?
As long as we have the money to do it.
Like, is it possible to do such a thing? I just thought it looked really nice for like decor.
No, I like the idea of having, because it's part of our mental health awareness initiative, which we'll talk about. Let's get a quote on that, because it has to be cities unless Los Altos want to donate the money. But figure out how much that will be, because I like the idea.
I have an alternate to save money.
Yeah, please.
I mean, idea is great,
Right.
but to save money, just put some screens there. Portable ones, just like it there.
Do we have enough for these? By the way, Gabe, we need another mic, but that's a different.
That's a free big sign, right there.
That's true. So we'll work on that. So a great idea. We'll work on that.
I did talk to El Camino about swag. They don't want to donate, they don't want to give us swag because they're already giving us so much. And I said to John, I hate to ask, but I need him to say no before I move on to something else. So is it okay if we don't have swag?
Yes. So Shally had asked, I said, if we can get swag, definitely. I think of swag, to your point earlier about alcohol, more for the holiday party. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine, if it's not free, no. Like, I just want to be like.
I agree, we get enough swag.
100 stress balls.
Or 200.
Right. At the city, convention, they got plenty of.
Right.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Like cities association branded stress balls.
No, it doesn't.
How can you know? Whatever.
Whatever they have. Whatever they already have, I'm sure they have thousands of them.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah, and we can distress where we're.
And if Nisa's is bad as an MC, then we have something to start with.
Like. That would actually be fun. Okay, I'm gonna close us out. Andrew, any last comments, anything? You have an expression on your face I'm trying to read.
I'm just trying to put together all the materials you asked for and try to send it to you. Right away.
Okay, thank you. So no more comments, questions. We're gonna adjourn our meeting at 3:20. Thank you guys so much. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Andrew.
Thank you. Have a good
I
weekend.
love how Johnny had you come today.
Stop recording.
Okay. Oh, the recording. Sorry, I got distracted.